Welcome home, Raiders! This week, the next expansion was announced at Gamescom, and you are probably quite prepared by now, actually. This is Convert to Raid number 190.
You're listening to Convert to Raid, the podcast for Raiders in the World of Warcraft.
Podcast Power Station in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Today is August 11th, 2015, and it's now 9:08 in the PM on a Tuesday night. Still kind of weird for me. But thank you for joining us from all around World of Warcraft land. And hello, my name is Pat Crane. I'm the host of this little shindig. This broken shindig. And I'm the host of this show. And I also play on Airy Peak. I do. And the players are here as well. First of all, we will go to California, sunny California, and we'll visit with our good and always upbeat friend, Darius.
I really like this Tuesday evening time. I am not that it's possible, but I'm actually a much happier person.
Really?
At night, yeah. I mean, you can't tell because I'm always so happy.
Right.
It's
right.
Better.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with your mic, but that's all right. We'll figure it out. And from the Realm Maintenance podcast, you probably have heard of that. You probably listened to that. If you like podcasts about podcasts, go check out Realm Maintenance and our good friend, Ro. Hey, buddy.
Hello. I don't have any fortune cookies. I'm sorry, Chatworm, but I do have health stones, so I have those kind of cookies if you want.
No. We don't. They're no good anyway. Right? I mean, nobody uses them anymore. Might as well have a potion. Yeah, you got to have a potion these days. Don't you, Darius?
Thanks for having me on, man.
Just if you're using lock cookies, leave my raid team.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong. Yeah. Sorry, warlocks everywhere.
I don't know why we bring warlocks anymore.
Just for the summons. That's it.
Just to summon you to Doomlord Kazakh, right?
For the Hellevator. I call it the Hellevator. I thought that was a good one.
That's a pretty good one. Yeah. I've not heard that one before.
Well, welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for joining us, fellas, as always. And we have quite a bit to talk about today, which is good. We have like a lot to talk about. Lots of stuff to go over. Lots of opinions about everything. We have some of your opinions on this show as well. But first, let's talk a little bit about what we've been up to this week. And Ro, let's start with you, man. You do the Realm Maintenance podcast. You also have the Extended Maintenance podcast. What are these lovely shows that you have?
So they sound pretty similar, but they're actually two very different kind of shows. I'm actually going to start with the Extended Maintenance podcast first, since that is a WoW podcast. And I do that podcast with Alt from Alternative Chat. You may also know her from her blogging, and she also co-hosts The Starting Zone with Mick Montgomery. So she does a podcast, Extended Maintenance, with me, and it's an infrequent podcast. We don't do it every week, but when we have a topic that we feel like we want to go on and on and on and on about, that's when we do an episode of Extended Maintenance. And we just have a lot of fun talking about stuff, mentioning 80s movies pretty often, and arguing over just how connected the next expansion is going to be to the Warcraft movie.
Ooh, that sounds interesting. Might have to check it out. And then, of course, Realm Maintenance, which is a podcast about podcasts.
Right, and that's what's actually started first.
Right.
I'm actually approaching my 3-year anniversary in 3 days with that show.
Hey!
Congrats.
There we go.
It's pretty crazy. I have done over 150 episodes of that thing, and It started out as a podcast which told everybody what was happening with other WoW podcasts, because right now, even with millions of people leaving WoW because warlords, blah, 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 there are still over 50 active World of Warcraft podcasts. And there was really no place to find where they all were. And iTunes isn't the best for finding all of them. Heck, you go to iTunes and you find a half a dozen shows that are supposedly in the top 50, but have been dead for years.
Right. Right.
So what I did with Realm Maintenance is basically provide a podcast where people can tune in. It's a relatively short podcast, and they'll hear me interview another WoW podcast or a podcast for other Blizzard games as well. I just like a lot of WoW podcasts, I expanded to cover games for other Blizzard podcasts too. And I'll just kind of get people introduced to that podcast and give them a little taste of what these other podcasts are and let them know how to find them. And yeah, so if you ever find that your podcast playlist for WoW or other Blizzard games is getting a bit low, give Realm Maintenance a shot and get your podcast playlist filled up.
Yeah, and you can also go to the website Realm. Is it Realm-Maintenance or is it Realm Maintenance?
Right, it's realm-maintenance.com because I tried registering Realm Maintenance, and for one thing, it was a really big word, and for another reason, for some reason, it had been taken up. So realm-maintenance.com, it's easy enough.
But that website was down for repairs, which is weird.
Aww.
I don't know.
Every once in a while, even that site has to go down for maintenance.
No.
And the gimmick thing about the podcast is it comes out every Tuesday, so it comes out on the day that the servers go down. So the voice of the show says at the top of it, which you guys may find very familiar, when the servers go down, we'll tell you what's up.
Right. Got to get up to get down. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Glad to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me on. This is a big deal for me. I was talking to a friend the other day, and I said that, quite honestly, I haven't been nervous about appearing on a podcast in over a year and a half. This is the first time where I just have a little case of the jitters.
Well, you'll settle in just fine.
You'll get over that real quick.
Most likely. So we'll get to your rating here in a little bit,
okay,
because we're gonna really grill you over your rating. But Darius, I do want to figure out what's going on with the Convert to Mythic team right now. Where are you guys at? What is going on? Where are you in the race to world 10th?
First? Well,
15th, 50th. I don't know where we're at with that either.
I was out of town all of last week, so I missed our raid on Thursday and Sunday. But as far as I know, on Sunday, they killed Archimond almost.
On heroic.
On heroic. Almost.
Well, wait,
basically a kill.
Wait, no, you said almost. That's weird.
No.
I was going to do an applause, but then I'm like, well, you can't applaud almost.
No, they still have yet to take him down. They claim it was my fault because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Which I fully believe. I mean,
oh yeah.
You know, how are they going to do it without me?
I do too. Last week or the week before, you said that you carry everybody, so you know. I can only take
get tired from that, Darius.
I can only take you for your word, buddy. That's it. That's all I can do.
It really does. Yeah, myself and Tovo, we often have to get massages and chiropractic work done after every raid.
That makes sense.
For carrying everybody.
Right. And Ro, you actually raid with the FERT team, right? You're Horde side.
Yeah, Horde side. So I rate on FERT, which is a team over on AIE on Earth and Ring. And I raid with a group of awesome players, some of which are also fellow podcasters. And we're a very casual raiding team. Right now, we're actually not doing a whole lot of heavy progression. We're doing a little bit of Raid Finder here and there, and just kind of working on the early stages of normal. So I am comparatively a very, very casual raider right now. It doesn't mean that I don't appreciate heroic and mythic raiding, though. In fact, I'm hoping that come Legion, I'm really considering getting back into the heroic raiding scene, at least with my Warlock, because I will probably stay doing normal raiding with FERT, but I do want to try heroic raiding. I just feel it's a little too late in the game to look for a heroic team right now for myself, but come Legion, I want to jump right back into that. You know,
it's kind of a weird time right now because we see a lot of raiders kind of falling off a little bit, especially the more casual ones. They're like going, well, you know, we're going to have to wait a while until the next expansion. They have announced that there is not going to be another patch except for the flying patch that's coming out. There's not going to be any more content for
No Ruby
Warlords.
Sanctum.
There's no Sanctum. Oh wait, and I actually, you know what? That deserves applause right there.
Oh,
But you know, it's kind of one of those things where we're at the end of the expansion. People are kind of tailing off. We talked about the numbers last week, and those aren't looking so hot for Warlords either. And that's okay. We have something new to talk about.
Yes.
But before we talk about that, I do want to talk about a couple of other things. First of all, I want to talk about how I'm coughing really great right now. And then next up, I'm going to play Kragmar, take care of this cough, and we'll be right back after this. Here we go.
Deep Thoughts with
Kragmar! I bet gnome children have to have a stepladder. And then they also need a smaller stepladder to reach the first stepladder. They're tiny.
This has been Deep Thoughts with Kragmar.
Those gnomes are tiny.
I didn't get it until he explained that they're tiny at the end. I'm glad he did that.
Right.
Yeah. You see, they're really vertically challenged. I think it's a politically correct word.
Yeah, something like that. All right, well, let's talk about this for real quick. I just want to tell people about this because the deadline is coming up. If you bought a BlizzCon ticket, the attendee information has to be in there before August 14th. That's the deadline. That's the deadline where you have to have your name in there. You have to have all your information. You have to have your character names in there. Whatever you're going to have on those tickets, those need to be finalized this week. So do it. And there's going to be lots of stuff happening at BlizzCon. I'm not sure if you know that.
Tons of stuff.
Ro, you're actually involved with some of that stuff, right?
Yeah, I am one of the planners for the Con Before the Storm, which is a party happening on Thursday night at the Anaheim Hilton. There's going to be a lot of parties happening on Thursday night, actually. Con Before the Storm is one of them. And we're going to have a lot of stuff happening there. Specifically, I'm one of the planners for the World of Podcast portion of Con Before the Storm, which is something that's been done the past couple of years. And we're getting podcasters from not just WoW podcasts, but a bunch of the other Blizzard games as well. We're going to get them all in one room and just have a lot of fun, kind of giving people a taste of their podcast. We're going to have, plenty of swag to give away and stuff. There's going to be a photo booth, an area to meet and greet people, just hang out with all sorts of community members. One reason why this year it's the Con Before the Storm and not just World of Podcasts is because we recognize that there's more to BlizzCon than just WoW lately. So we want right?
Just a bit.
Oh, no.
So we want to put the spotlight not just on WoW, but all things Blizzard. So people who enjoy Hearthstone or Heroes or Diablo or even Overwatch can just come on by the party, have fun, and geek out with everyone. And there's going to be a lot more announcements made as far as like who's participating in World of Podcasts and everything. Actually, I think I was just talking about this in a meeting right before this show. Next Tuesday, we should be officially announcing the podcast that will be a part of World of Podcasts, which is kind of like the main event room for Con Before the Storm. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Cool. Yeah, and we've got the Well Played party on the Friday night. So we've got Con Before the Storm on Thursday night, the night before everything. And then the night during everything, we have the Well Played party. And that's really all you need to be at. Those are the two things. That's it. That's all you need. And your BlizzCon will be very blissful.
And I just got to say that the showing from the community, not just for, Con Before the Storm, but for Well Played, if you take a look at both of those parties' Kickstarter campaigns, and both parties are awesome. You should try attending both if you're going to be in the area. Even if you don't have a BlizzCon ticket, if you're in Southern California, just come for the parties. But over $30,000 just raised by community members to want to put on a couple of awesome parties. That's just great.
That is pretty cool. That is very cool.
Pretty good.
All right, we should probably get into some raid news now.
Calling all raiders from around World of Warcraft land. This is raiding news.
It's time to check out what's happening in the news for raiders around the World of Warcrafts. And we really only have one thing to talk about, and that is that Blizzard has revealed the new expansion at Gamescom 2015, and it's all Murlocs. You level up to 125.
That's exactly what I said. It's underwater.
There are 9 new underwater zones, and you fight all the bosses, and you have to hold your breath.
Yep,
that's
the whole time.
Darius
and I heard
right.
the boss is George Van Cleef, Vanessa's illegitimate love child.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
I didn't even see
sense.
that one. Oh,
No,
does Wildhead have that one? I don't think they do.
It's been splattered and spattered in the lore for years. So
it's the new expansion is called Legion, not Blood Legion. No, it's just Legion. And it's going to have Gul'dan, it's going to have Illidan, and it's going to have anybody else with Dan at the end of their name. I think. Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Steely Dan.
Steely Dan's going to be there. Dalaran is going to be there.
Dalaran.
So, I mean, that kind of rhymes, right? So, but the big thing, so we had Tom Chilton, Alex Afrasiabi, I can never say his last name. I have to sound it out. Ian Hazzikostas, those guys presented at at Gamescom this year, and they said, okay, here's what we've got. We've got 6 new zones, plus Dalaran is coming back, like we said.
Yeah.
2 new raids, 8 new dungeons. Violet Hold is going to be redone because that comes with Dalaran, right?
Yep.
We have a new class in the Demon Hunter. And
everyone lost their mind when they saw that in the trailer.
They just lost their stuff.
Yep.
That's it. We also have artifact weapons with customization, class order halls, champions, not followers.
Totally different.
Hold on a sec.
Totally different.
Maybe I'm reserving the big applause on that one.
Yeah.
We have a new PvP honor system. We're doing V3, version 3 for the honor system. And it's going to be lots of night elves. And the other thing to note is that this is not an alternate universe. And I think that's important.
This counts.
We're back. We've gone back to the present.
We've gone.
Gotta get back in time.
Back in time to the present of when we left, but Gul'dan was kicked to his future. Yeah. I don't get that part, but I guess we'll tell that story when we get to it, I guess. But what are your first opinions of this expansion? Ro, maybe we'll go to you first.
I knew going into this that whatever they were going to announce was not going to be what everyone thought it was going to be. It hardly ever is. When Mists of Pandaria was announced, people didn't expect pandas. People didn't really expect Warlords of Draenor for the most part. And I think a lot of people were genuinely surprised that not only are we seeing Burning Legion, we're seeing a little bit of Wrath of the Lich King here with the Vrykul and the Valkyr. Yeah. We're going to have a little bit of Ashara. We're going to have a little bit of Emerald Dream. It feels like this is the expansion where Blizzard just wants to put out a smorgasbord, if I even said that right, of Warcraft lore and just say, have fun. The Burning Legion's attacking. It's go time. Let her at it. And I'm really excited about this. I was skeptical about just how hyped or excited I was going to be about an expansion following Warlords, but this has a lot of potential. I'm not going to go crazy nuts because people went crazy nuts about Warlords and look what happened. So it's good to be cautiously optimistic, but so far it looks all right.
And that was kind of cautiously optimistic was the thing that I saw on Twitter a lot because I've been asking people what they think about Legion and are they still, riding the hype train and are they, what's going on with them and there have been a lot of mixed reactions and I think, but the biggest one is I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm like, ouch, that stings a little bit. That's gotta sting just a little.
When the game loses almost 5 million players, can people really be expected to act any different?
I guess that reaction maybe is slightly paled in comparison with the 5 million lost subs. Probably, I'm guessing. I don't know. Darius, what are your initial reactions to Legion?
I just want to point out when they talked about PvP version 3 honor system, they were talking about the timeline and where version 1 happened, and they said, you know, it was from this expansion to this expansion, version 2 is this expansion, and version 3 they said from Legion until I believe they worded like the end of time or something like that.
No, Legion to Forever. Forever's the name of the next expansion.
Well, I think what it is I think it's their way of saying that this is the last expansion.
Oh, no.
That's what it is. I'm calling it right here. This is it. WoW's dead.
Oh, boy.
We lost all those people. WoW's dead. In this expansion, we're gonna kill Illidan again. We're gonna kill Sylvanas. We're gonna kill Khadgar.
The final raid boss is gonna be the planet itself. We're just gonna fight Azeroth.
You made me think of the Daily Blink and that Headstone cartoon that they had. What R.I.P. WoW 2004, whatever it was.
Continued on next Tombstone.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And Ro, you kind of mentioned something when you were talking about how we have a little bit of BC, we have a little bit of Wrath, we have a little bit of all these different pieces of content that we've already seen. I kind of thought when I first heard this that they just put a bunch of like tiles. They wrote stuff on tiles, threw it into a bag, and then just kind of like reached in blindly and went, okay, we have Illidan. Okay, that's one. Let's reach in again. And we have, Vrykul. Okay, that's cool.
They went to that forum post where that 12-year-old kid just listed everything he wants to see in WoW again. Yeah. And they just checkbox. All right, checkbox. Checkbox. We're good. We got everything he wants.
Right. Now let's maybe break this up a little bit and talk about some of the things that are coming up. And by the way, Wowhead just came out with an article. Was that today? I think it was today.
I think so. Yeah.
Compiling all this stuff that is known about Legion, and it's really good. We wrote our show notes before this came out, and I kind of wish that we had just stolen it. But, we'll work with our show notes. It's fine. We do have a new continent, and that new continent is called Broken Isles, and I'm using the screenshot from the thing. And
so lost.
Oh man, we don't know where this is. This is in the heart of Azeroth somewhere.
From what I understand, it would be relatively close in vicinity to where the Maelstrom's located. So it's basically, it's once again just one of those areas of the map where we haven't really seen it until it became relevant to go there.
Right.
So when the final map actually comes out, I imagine this is going to be somewhat in the middle next to the Maelstrom.
This new expansion is going to be map changing. Oh, wait. Yeah.
It always is.
All right.
One way to put it.
Yeah. So we have this place, the Broken Isles, has the Tomb of Sargeras, the gateway to endless Legion worlds, and is going to be the home to a demonic invasion much bigger than we've ever seen before in the history of Azeroth.
This is what happens when you ignore the Burning Legion. Like, for how long we were just like, yeah, they're fine. They're
not only that,
there. Don't worry about them.
Darius, it's your fault that Legion is happening. By the way,
it's mostly my fault.
Yeah. Well, aren't you the one who clicked on Gul'dan in Warlords of Draenor to let him free? I didn't.
No,
I could have swear I saw you clicked on Gul'dan first. You let him get away with it, and now look what he's done.
I don't know how to game.
No. No, you don't.
I thought he was a good guy. He was green. I don't know.
He was green. Everything else is green. I clicked on the green. That's all I did.
Just green everywhere.
You thought the good orcs were green and the bad orcs were not green. So I guess
it's so confusing. Everything was green. Blizzard, change your colors. Change your color palette a little bit.
Being a warlock, I can't really argue against the use of green.
Warlocks. Ugh. Who brought this guy on the show? Oh man! All right, we were able to see some of the different zones that are going to be happening. Dalaran, of course, we know Dalaran, and it's Dalaran will be in multiple places now. Now it's going to be in Northrend, and it's going to be in here on these isles, and we'll also have a Stormheim, which is the Vrykul when they're not.
Just call it Wrath of the Lich King land.
But they're not undead or whatever.
Right. They're the living.
They're healthy Vrykul. They're not dead Vrykul.
Right.
Yeah. I'm excited for that area because Grizzly Hills is my favorite zone in the whole game, and this is like This looks a lot like it. So I'm gonna hang out here. I'm gonna maybe build a house, build some condos,
Build a house. Yeah.
timeshare.
There we go. Darius just confirmed player housing. No,
Right. Oh, that's good. That's good.
I wasn't supposed to crap.
Yeah, I like it. And then there's Azuna, which is an ancient night elf civilization. So night elf stuff. We have High Mountain, which is Tauren. The Tauren are all happy, right?
They've got moose horns or elk horns. Did you see that in the trailer?
Yeah. And there might be an option to do that for reals, maybe?
Well, not only that, I mean, just regarding moose in general, there was a picture of a moose in the trailer, so now everyone's excited. All the people in Canada are excited that they are finally going to get their moose mount.
Well, that was what Ghostcrawler promised,
right?
Yeah.
He promised a moose, and there was definitely a moose.
Yeah, there's.
I remember that. That's probably the biggest news of this expansion.
Moose,
it is.
Without a doubt.
What's the plural of moose?
Moosed. Moosin.
I guess we'll have to find out. I don't know.
The herd.
Moosin.
Right. We also have a new race of elves in Suramar, which we'll find out what that is, I guess.
I think they're called the Nightborn, actually.
Oh, Nightborn.
They're called the Nightborn, from what I remember.
Ooh, that sounds
fine.
Interesting. And then we have Val'sharah, which is a druid place. And this is where we're going to come into one of the raids, which I want to talk about. But wait for just a second. Just for a second. Because we have to level up first to 110. I don't know what to do. I think
feels a little weird, doesn't it?
Yeah. Leveling up to 110, I'm just going to give crickets because I don't know. See, now I think that they should have done like no leveling really, but you have to go through and see all the story. Like the chapters thing, right? So you have all the chapters and you're just leveling up because you have to see all the chapters. So you have to go through them all.
There have to be bigger numbers though. You have to feel like you went somewhere, but I mean, to 110, I would have really have liked a level squish, maybe, or something. I don't know.
Something.
It's also
is weird.
I mean, we just got to be. I'm going to be jumping the gun a little bit, but you got to be really happy that there's going to be a boost to 100 in Legion, which is confirmed in like the details for the expansion. Can you imagine now leveling a character from 1 to 110?
Well, that's okay because you have the level 100 boost now.
Right.
So you have that. You can go to 100, and then you can just I don't know, make a demon hunter. Just make a demon hunter, and you'll be fine. Apparently,
I mean, it is. You look at it. You're coming into the game from as a brand new player, and you look at and you say, "Man, the level cap is 110, and you're level 1."
Yeah,
and you get that first level from questing, and you're like, "Man, I'm out."
I'm not gonna spend money on leveling up to whatever, and it's so much time.
That is 110 is a large number. It is 10 larger than 100.
It is.
Right.
And one less than 111.
Right.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So we go to the Broken Shore and we go through the aisles and we are told that every single player is going to be surprised and shocked. Not that you are actually going to 110. That's only the new players will be surprised and shocked. They'll go 110. But apparently there's something out there. There's some sort of theory going
Stuff
around.
Stuff is going
rumors.
down. And this is where I made a little mark in the notes.
Mm-hmm.
Some big stuff is going down, right? Because one thing we'll talk about in a little more detail in a second is artifacts. But just very quickly, you're going to be able to recover artifacts. And these artifacts are apparently from people who have fallen or people who have just given up to despair. But this means, folks, that we're going to be recovering and using weapons possibly from people who have died in that opening battle on the Broken Shore when the Burning Legion first invades. And if you go to the Legion website, Pat, you notice that there was a list of like different characters that are going to be on there. Anduin Rin, he has this whole grown-up fancy model now. Gen Greymane is there.
Mm-hmm.
And yet Varian Rin isn't on there. Thrall isn't on there. Sylvanas is.
Well,
It just feels like we're going to lose some major characters here.
Well, but hold on a sec, because Varian Rin was featured in the live stream, I believe. They showed a still.
Part of the cinematic, right?
Yeah. And
what if the cinematic is him dying in that opening invasion?
Well, I
like him.
I know people do like him, but they've been concentrating on Anduin. I mean, like all during Mists, it was Anduin, right? I mean, it was all Anduin all the time. So who knows? Who knows?
I feel like I don't know if this is going to be Red Wedding levels of death.
Oh, that'd be
if you're
great.
used to watching Game of Thrones, but I think that both Alliance and Horde are going to suffer some serious losses.
Ooh, Thrall dead.
No.
Thrall gone.
When you had said that we were going to be picking up the artifact things from those had given up in despair, all I could envision is a new player getting to like 47 and giving up. Then we just have to go loot their bodies. Yeah.
Nice. I like it.
I really don't think they're going to kill off. I mean, maybe they go really, really dark. Maybe they go Game of Thrones.
That would go
people,
really super dark.
I feel like Warlords was
dark middle
almost a
chapter.
testing ground for it. Because we lost some characters in Warlords. Now, true, this was an alternate timeline, so it didn't really count for a lot of people. But I feel like they were kind of putting their toe in the water of saying, what if we have a story where some key characters actually die?
Huh. Well, I don't know. I mean, if they're in Heroes of the Storm, I don't know if they can actually die. So
and no, death isn't final for anyone anyhow. For everyone, it's merely a setback.
It never is. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, let's talk about the dungeons and raids for a little bit. One of the things that was said about dungeons specifically was this, that the team wants to make sure that there are more dungeons, more varied challenges, and more replayability, and more of a reason to keep doing dungeons throughout the expansion. So Valor is coming back, everybody. Valor is coming back. So
I feel like I've heard this before.
Right, exactly.
Well, that's the big problem, right? Because the way they had dungeons set up, since we lost Valor points and Justice points, and all we had were these Apexis crystals, and you couldn't do a whole lot with Apexis crystals, you have to wonder, they need to do something to make dungeon grinding relevant throughout the expansion. Now, one way they can do that is tie, of course, with the artifact system, which they said they're going to do. But I don't know if that's going to be enough. That they need to have another carrot on a stick for players.
Well, I mean, basically, that's going to be the new Valor that's not Valor.
What do we call it?
Artifact power? It's
courage points.
Courage points. I like it. I like that one. But as far as the dungeons go, there's going to be 8 new dungeons, including Eye of Ashara, because they thought, hey, this name's been floating around for a while. Why not use it? And they're like I mentioned, they're doing a Violet Hold reboot. So they all look cool from what they showed, right, Darius?
Yeah, I mean the whole Violet Hold reboot thing. I'm all for some of these dungeons getting a reboot. That's fine, but that's probably one of the last ones I would have picked. Leveling up now, you go through there and everyone's in heirlooms and you nuke down whatever mini boss you're facing, and then you sit around and you wait the 30, 45 seconds, a minute for the next thing to spawn.
Yeah.
So it's not really a good memory for me at this point.
Well, I don't know if they're going to do that. Because
I hope not.
Because they said, we're gonna uncover something with the new Violet Hold. We're gonna discover something new. So my guess is that there's something beyond those portals or something like that. Maybe we go into those portals and go mess around and do stuff. I don't know.
Well, I think the Violet Hold was more than that cell, right? So, I mean, those could have just been holding cells. But what I imagine is that the Violet Hold could start out as us being in that room, but then something happens and a big piece of the wall gets destroyed, and we find there's this whole other part of Violet Hold to discover and check out. So it may be a revamp, but it might be an entirely new thing as well.
Yeah.
It's still the same name, though, and it's just invokes this feeling of boredom. But
It's
yeah,
Violet.
I actually liked Violet Hold.
It's Violet Hold 2, Electric Boogaloo. That's what it is.
they'll knock down the wall, and it'll be an exact mirror of Violet holding the other side. And you're like, look, it's a whole new area.
But it's flipped around, so it's totally mirrored. But it's
Bizarro Violet Hold.
You come out of the portals instead of the enemies.
Right. Right.
That's the twist.
That's what that's kind of what I said, but you took it there, and that's good. I like it. Also announced were 2 new raids, one of which is kind of cool, the Emerald Nightmare. I kind of like this. I'm like, oh, it's not Emerald Dream. No, it's Emerald Nightmare. So we're going to finally see some of this stuff, which people have been really kind of chomping at the bit for, I think, for the last couple of expansions.
Mm-hmm.
And people can finally be quiet about when are we getting our Emerald Dream expansion.
Right. Hey, guess what, guys? It's right now.
Yep.
Right now.
Yeah. This is it.
So I'm kind of excited for that. Darius, what do you think about Emerald Nightmare? That's going to be the first dungeon, 7 bosses, right? And
first raid. Yeah, I like raid. Yeah.
You like raid?
You like raid? All right.
Well, one thing that's interesting is that they said that they're happy with the structure that they had with Warlords. So, of course, if you remember in Warlords, we had High Maw, which is a 7 dungeon instance, and then we had Blackrock Foundry. So it sounds like these first 2 raids are going to follow a similar pattern where we'll access the Emerald Nightmare first, and then,
a few months later, we'll just go
a couple months later, hopefully not with another patch improving selfies, but Suramar Palace then comes out a couple months later. So that sounds cool, exciting. I think the thing that everyone's excited about is who the final boss of Suramar Palace is.
Yeah, Gul'dan will be a boss in there. You're gonna, attack him or encounter him somewhere along the road, but he is not going to be the final boss. I don't think of that particular thing, right?
Right,
and he's not the big bad, so it's not just Orc, version 3 on this one.
And another thing too is, unless you've been hiding under a rock, you've seen a lot of the artwork and promotional stuff, and if you've seen the trailer for this, you know that Illidan is coming back. Illidan Stormrage is coming back. Yeah. So, of course, that evokes a lot of memories and nostalgia. And there are a lot of people, on Twitter and forums and stuff asking, is Illidan going to be the final boss? Is he a good guy or a bad guy? And when the devs have been asked this, they've said, we just have to wait and see.
No. Maybe this is how we're going to be shocked and surprised. Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably not. That'll probably be pretty straight up the middle.
Yeah.
But there are, it could go either way. I don't know. So, where am I in the notes? There we go. So we've got those 2 raids. Kind of excited for that. Similar pattern. Hopefully, it'll be more than just 2 tiers for that. I kind of like the 3 tier system for raids in an expansion. I don't know how you guys feel.
I'm kind of hoping that we get more raid content in this expansion, especially because people felt like Warlords came across as kind of a short and maybe a somewhat rushed expansion that everyone's opinions and feelings are well known about that by now. I'm kind of hoping that we see a little more meat to raiding this time around. I'm not saying the expansion has to be a lot longer than Warlords ends up being, but hopefully I'm hoping for 4 raid instances. So these first 2 basically take us from 7.0 to 7.1, then 7.1 or 7.1 we get a raid, and then maybe the final patch we get the final raid.
Sure. I kind of want there to be a few tiers. That's all that I really want. I don't know. Darius, do you feel like Warlords was too short or what?
I didn't like how we got 3 raids, but only 2 real tiers.
Yeah.
I didn't like that half tier kind of thing that went on. And I really didn't like how they, as High Maul went on, or Blackrock, I think it was High Maul, they increased the eye level to make it closer to what Blackrock was going to be or something like that. It just felt odd. I didn't like that. I do like what they do with Hellfire now, where the last couple bosses have a higher eye level than some of the others. Like I like that idea. I think that's a good idea, but I don't know. It felt very patched together and very disjointed. I just didn't like that at all.
Right. And it's like the raid content itself was really great. I think that the structure around it was kind of weird, and there was obviously some adjustment issues with the new way that normals and heroics and mythic kind of broke down and all that kind of stuff. So for the next expansion, we'll be ready, right? For as far as those changes go, I'm just hoping that now we can actually settle in for a little bit and kind of enjoy a longer ride. That's all I want. Now let's talk a little bit about this newfangled thing. So they've got a new thing called artifacts, and I'm going to throw up a little thing from the PowerPoint deal at Gamescom.
Makes really good radio.
Yeah, but we're talking about artifacts, and these are the weapons that we're going to be using for Legion. There are not going to be any other weapon drops, right? There might be like little gray items or something like that, but nothing that you'll want to use. And so now you'll have artifacts.
So happy for that as loot master.
Darius, what are artifacts? What are they? What do they do?
They're there's little thing you go to like a gift shop and you pick them up.
Yep.
They're usually like a dolphin or something like that on the beach.
It says like
maybe.
get well soon.
Yeah.
Right.
Now these are weapons. These are per spec weapons. So a disc priest and a holy priest and a shadow priest are all going to have different weapons.
Right.
There's 36 of them, one for each spec. They're going to be spread out. They're going to be like a shadow priest and a disc priest aren't going to pick them up in the same spot. They're going to be at different places. They're going to be quest chains or whatever it ends up being to get to them, and it's going to be different for each one, which will be exciting, I think. And they're going to have progression paths. They're going to have artifact power and relics.
Yes.
So these are going to be like talent tiers, almost similar to what the old tier system was. So the more you raid, the more the gooder you do in the expansion.
The gooder you do, the gooder the artifact becomes.
Yeah, the more powerful it becomes, the more you unlock.
And you don't just have to raid. They said that artifact power is going to be acquired from a variety of activities, actually. And these relics are supposed to replace the weapon drops in raids. So people wondering, where are weapon drops in raids? What these relics are going to be are items that you basically socket into the artifact.
Yeah.
And that's going to give it the stats and the DPS and all.
Essentially, you're going to be leveling your weapon up throughout the expansion. So it's just a level up thing. Which is another reason why I don't think they need to go to 110. Just go to 100. Have them go through all the storyline. Level up your weapon. That's what you're leveling up now. You're leveling up your weapon. That's it.
I do like that. So the relic thing. Those are things that are going to drop from raids and dungeons and quests and things like that. You're going to stick them in the weapon and you're going to make your weapon more powerful. But unlike this will likely replace a legendary. But now you could clear all of LFR and get the same legendary that someone that cleared Mythic would get. But they've said that relics, the things that increase or enhance your artifact, a relic from Mythic is going to be more powerful than one from LFR. It's that carrot on a stick, the one that makes you want to do normals to get a more powerful relic, and then Mythics to get an even more powerful relic. I like that idea. I think it's a good incentive for people to keep pushing.
And so we're going to actually see people wielding things like Ashbringer and some of these really amazing weapons that we've come to know, and then you're going to be able to, modify them a little bit. Some like Ashbringer itself has multiple different colors that you can make it into, and it has like a fire sword and a shadow sword and a lightning sword or whatever.
Yes.
And where's the foam Ashbringer is what I'm wondering.
Yeah, the foam one.
as they grow up, they start looking different, or as you complete specific tasks or do some of the PvPing or things like that, you'll get different skins for them, which I think is cool.
And also, if you play a druids, assemble, because we're going to talk about this real quick. They talked about Feral and the big bears, right? And they said, "Oh, you guys are kind of get the shaft a lot of the times. You don't get any new cool weapon models or anything like that. But this time around, the fangs of the first lightsaber are actually going to transform druids into like cooler, like mechano druids. It's really neat, and there's
like the spectral form on the.
There's like an ice one. I don't know all the different forms or anything like that, but there are going to be new models for druids, different form models for druids, especially cats and bears. Don't know anything about trees or battle chickens. Don't know that yet, but it's a start. I'm assuming we're going to see all the different forms try to get a new thing, right? I mean, Ro, what do you think about that?
Well, considering
you don't care, you play a warlock.
Well, I play a warlock, but I mean, back in the day in Wrath of the Lich King, I actually played a balanced druid for a while. The boom chicken was my main alt, as it were. So I wouldn't mind having a super boom chicken mode where you have like armor-plated feathers or something like that. I don't know.
Great.
But the forms look interesting. I'm really excited about that. Yeah. I'm wondering what kind of weapon boom chickens wield. Would it just be staff or
barbecue sauce? That's what I'm guessing. Probably barbecue sauce. That's one of them.
That's terrible.
But what do you? Okay, so guys, what do you think about there being 36 different artifact weapons and one for each spec?
That is awesome, because one of the things that's really excited me about Legion with the whole presentation and everything is that they are putting this emphasis on classes, and we're going to get more into that in just a second, but it's more about who you are as a paladin or who you are as a warlock, and specifically a ret paladin or a holy paladin. They're going back to essentially class-specific quest lines, and this is something that you've seen in other MMOs. Like Star Wars: The Old Republic has a heavy push on class storylines, and people have been wanting class-specific quest lines for quite a while now, especially when the Warlock Greenfire quest came out. Everyone was saying, when can my class get that special crazy quest line? And now every single spec's going to have that kind of epic quest line, and I feel that's going to add a lot of replayability. People who would rarely ever consider playing alts but love the story of Warcraft, like myself, I may actually play a couple of these other classes and specs just to see what cool storyline they have with their artifact.
Sure. Darius, do you have a different opinion, or is your opinion that it's awesome? 36 weapons, awesome, one for each spec.
I think it's a really, really cool. I mean, everybody's gonna get their own. Like Ro was saying, you're going to get class specific quest lines, and I think I've really enjoyed those in the past, and I'd love to see more. It's going to be a pain to get a shadow and a holy and a disc weapon, but it'll be 3 different quest lines, so it'll be a little more exciting than doing the same thing 3 times.
Sure, I would agree with that. The only problem that I have with it, and as a healer, is that you probably level in a different spec than what you actually finish in, right? So as a healer, you level up as whatever your DPS spec is, and then you go and you say, okay, well, now I want to be a healer, and I don't have my artifact weapon as strong as I have my DPS one because I was spending all my points on that. And now I have to go back and I have to regrind everything because now I got to get everything ready for the raid, which is coming up in 2 weeks or whatever. So now I got to grind out all my points again so that I can get my healing one as strong as my DPS one. But now everybody has their DPS or their regular weapon, whatever they're using, much, much stronger than I have mine because I've been trying to play both ends of this deal.
That's something I hadn't considered. I know that you obtain your artifact very early on in the expansion content.
Yeah.
And they have said that there are going to be catch-up mechanisms. But even if there are catch-up mechanisms in place, that still does mean that it's possibly going to require extra effort for healers and possibly tanks if they're going to level up as a DPS spec.
Right. And they did say that there would be some kind of catch-up thing for alternate specs. And so, who knows exactly what that's going to really mean. And I don't know.
I mean, if you had just played a real class like a disc priest and you're 50% damage, 50% healing, this wouldn't be an issue because you just level as disc. You know,
or
the
be a
master
Fist
class.
Weaver monk.
Yeah,
There you go.
master class.
Nope. I'm gonna turn on this and I'm just gonna walk away.
Where's Hansi? He's with me.
Or you could just be a pure DPS class
Darius.
and then not have to worry about it.
Darius. I'm just gonna have to get a demon hunter. That's it. Because then you only have 2 specs to worry about.
You and everyone else.
Right. Exactly. But I mean, everything else about it looks pretty cool. I mean, you get to kind of level it up and you get this nice little overlay thing where you can pick and choose what things you want and the talents and whatever. And some of the things are going to be small DPS increases and other little things. And other things are going to be like utility. Like they mentioned that DKs will be able to resurrect themselves.
Yeah,
That's cool.
that's great. So now DKs can waste their B-res on themselves.
Right.
Well, it's
all the
basically a way for them to do a new tier of talents without having to add a 110 tier on that whole talent tree.
Yeah.
It's just another way of doing it. So it's not like it's this brand new technology or anything like that. I mean, everyone's used to when they're leveling up, getting new talents, getting some bonuses to this stat here and there. This is just a different way of packaging it, but I'm not unhappy with that. It's just basically one way to kind of wrap things up. Some people have made the connection that this feels kind of similar to what they wanted to do with Path of the Titans. And it kind of also brings up the point you mentioned earlier, Pat, wondering why couldn't they just made our progression, this expansion, focused on the artifact? Why was there exactly a need to go from 100 to 110?
Sure. Well, and there's something else that I found kind of interesting about this whole expansion was that it seems like this is the expansion of unlocks, right? So you get to unlock a lot of different things. You get to unlock talents and stuff like that on your weapon. You get to unlock all of the different different little cosmetic things that you can do with that weapon. You unlock, I mean, when we talk about PvP in a little bit, you can unlock different PvP talents as well. You can unlock all this stuff. So why don't we just unlock stuff and not level up? I mean, I don't understand what the real issue is, because then guess what? You can just, as far as from the developer standpoint, it seems to me it might be easier to class balance because you just do it straight from the beginning. You don't have to worry about anything. Oh, here's another thing I just thought of right now. If you are choosing, so if you're choosing your spec, right? If you know what your spec is going to be when you start your questing, what if you pick the wrong spec? What if you pick the one that nobody else is picking? Like right now it's survival hunters. And you go, I want to be a survival hunter. And then you look at DPS and you go, I don't want to be a survival hunter anymore. But I have my weapon now. Bad choices.
Don't make the wrong choice.
Right.
It's definitely going to be one of the more challenging things they're going to have to iterate on in the development process. There are going to be people who want to play more than one spec or who want to switch specs. So they're just going to have to make sure that the ability to switch from one artifact to another isn't a huge pain in the butt. Because if it is too much of a pain, then guess what? You're going to have people leaving the game.
Leaving the game. Yeah, it's no longer about people complaining anymore. It's people leaving the game, which I think we've seen more and more of.
People are tired of complaining at this point, right? They're just deciding are they going to stay or they're going to go.
Right. And that might be the thing that pushes people over. That's kind of dicey stuff. I don't know. Let's move it along though, because I know that we have a lot of stuff to talk about. What Darius?
You could just play a disc priest and always be good.
You know that disc priest is changing a lot for the next expansion.
I'm sure they'll still be the best healer class.
They are going to be they're not going to be healing anymore.
Don't worry about it.
They're not going to be healing anymore. Of course, they weren't healing in this expansion either. They were just bubbling. So I think they'll do the same thing. Let's talk a little bit about classes, because we were talking about that a little bit. There's going to be these class order halls. Instead of Alliance and Horde coming together, we just have the different classes coming together. So all the priests will come together and they can go away. Everything is on fire, I think, on the priest place.
Well, just because
they're just setting
how
priests
better we
afire.
are than everyone else.
Yeah, so all the druids will have a place. Warlocks, they'll have a place, but they're putting it off world.
We've got our own world to hang out.
They're keeping you guys far away.
Yeah.
That's fine. Warlocks are loners. I have no problem with that.
So everybody will have their own place where they can gather with their other classmates, I guess. And this is also where you're going to have champions, which are similar to followers, but there's something a little bit different about this one. Ro, maybe you can explain how these guys are going to be a little bit different.
Yeah, so people, when you hear that champions are going to be similar to followers, you don't have to freak out. There's not going to be a whole lot of extra management that you're going to have to do, and you don't have to worry about your followers getting to go on all the adventures while you're just sitting at a command table, right? So this time, what their plan, their theory to do with champions is when they go out on missions, they could come back and let you know, hey, we've discovered this area, or we've gone on this mission and there's this thing that you may want to check out. So it's more like they're doing this kind of scouting and recon thing. And the benefits that they're going to provide, it's going to be less about loot and more about giving you perhaps bonuses in these regions that they're going to, so that when you go to the area that they were in, you either get a bonus or perhaps they join with you and fight alongside you. And so it's going to be very much a change to the system where they're putting more of the emphasis on you're the one leading the charge and they're basically assisting you rather than them doing all the work for you.
You have to go out and
Darius,
do all the things.
you can't be lazy this time.
Yeah, Darius.
What?
You can't be lazy. Actually, I think you're talking to me. I think you might be talking to me.
I just like picking on Darius, Pat. I'm sorry.
Everybody does. Everybody loves it.
Get in line.
Yeah, that's right. Darius, do you think that this is going to be a suitable replacement for followers, or is this a good morphing of followers in your mind?
I don't think we need to replace followers. I mean, I think followers served their purpose in Warlords. I don't think we need to see them come back.
Sure.
But I like the idea of champions where they might help you out. I'm envisioning them similar to like in part, not fully, but in part to kind of like the helpers you get when you're leveling in Warlords. That you click a button and for 5 minutes you get a thing that follows you around and helps you out or something like that.
Right.
So maybe something like that. But I like the idea of our tunes feeling like a hero, because that's what we're supposed to be. You're supposed to be saving Azeroth. You're supposed to be doing all these kind of things that a hero does, and too often I feel like that's downplayed.
Can't you do that from behind a desk? I mean, there are a lot of pencil pushers that save lives here.
I mean, that's what happens when you retire, but I don't think my character's too old, or not too old for that.
That's basically what you got in Warlords.
I don't want to be an armchair savior of Azeroth.
It felt like we went into Warlords and we got a desk job.
Yeah. And this is the future of warfare, maybe in the real world, where it's just all drones and all that kind of stuff. But
I like that analogy.
I still like to swing my staff every once. Oh, that went to a weird place, but
wow. Darius.
And Darius gets
Dork of the Week.
There we go. Thank you, buddy. Well, other than swinging staves, and so on and so forth, there was one thing that kind of came up with the class order halls, and they kind of went through and they said, okay, these guys are going here, we've got these guys going here, we've got the paladins going to the light of what is it? I can't even
Lights
think of
Hope Chapel.
Lights Hope, yeah. And hey, rogues, why don't you go to the Dalaran sewers? And rogues went, what? They're like, yeah, just put us in the sewers. Thanks, Blizz. And everybody was like, Ravenholt, that's where we want to go. That's where we want to be. And they're like, well, we'll discuss it.
What's Ravenholt?
Ravenholt is the mansion that was like...
No, I know what it is. It's just, that's what Blizzard is saying. It's been long been forgotten.
No, they know what it is, but they wanted to, rogues to be like sneaking around kind of behind people's backs, and you can't do that when you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, there's a very simple solution to the whole Ravenholt Dalaran sewer thing.
Yeah.
One thing they were talking about was that, well, Ravenholt's so far away and such, right? So I think the easiest way to handle it is you have this rogue mage who is set up in the Dalaran sewers that opens a portal down there that can take rogues from there to Ravenholt. Problem solved. Best of both worlds.
The rogue mage.
Then you have like 2 class halls or whatever. Kinda. I don't know. Doesn't seem...
Dual class confirmed.
Dual class.
That's how they're going to make rogues ranged.
Right.
There you go.
A rogue that casts spells.
Should we talk about some of the changes that we know of for the classes a little bit? I don't even have this in the show notes. Screw it. Who cares?
Sure.
But I know, like they were talking about hunters. I know that they want to make rogues different. Number one, they want to have one be poisons, one be more kind of straightforward combat, one be kind of sneakier, right?
A pirate.
A pirate.
Be a pirate.
Right. And a murloc. No. No. And then hunters, we have marksman is going to be at range with no pet. Beastmaster will be at range with a pet. And then survival is going to be melee with a pet.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's
Raptor Strike is back.
I know. That's exactly what I said. It was amazing. It was like I'm gonna get a new button on my bar for my Hunter Zug. That's great. That's awesome. I'm kind of psyched about some of these changes. And Darius, there's some changes going on with priests too, right? What do we got?
Disc priests are going to be even better. They go back to similar to how they were in like Throne of Thunder in that era, where they were doing a lot of damage and a lot of healing. You know, kind of 50% of each. So I'm excited for that. You know,
I heard that they have this special quest line where they go to Alterac Valley, they find the broken I win button, and they get it to work so that disc priests now have the I win button.
Right.
We've always had that, but it's at this point, not only will we make the other healers cry, we're going to make DPS cry too. So
thanks, appreciate it.
What we want.
As if I didn't cry enough as a warlock. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, and warlocks are getting some changes too, right? Right, Ro?
Well, yes and no. I mean, one thing about, because there's going to be demon hunters, and demon hunters are going to have the ability to basically go demon form, have metamorphosis, right? So demonology warlocks were wondering, well, where exactly does that put us with our metamorphosis? So the devs have said that demonology warlocks are going to be less about going into demon form, and they're going to put them back to their roots, where demonology should be about your warlock's demons. So they're going to put a heavy emphasis on your demons being the main part of how you play. Now, how they plan to express that remains to be seen, but I wouldn't even be surprised if demonology lost the metamorphosis button altogether, so that it went just to demon hunters and they just put more of the emphasis on using your pets.
Yeah, because you want demon hunters to really stand out, and you're not going to do that if you have all the demo warlocks, in metamorphic form. So that's no good. And I don't know, were there any other classes that were kind of talked about? I think those were the big ones.
So far, yeah.
As far as I remember. So let's talk a little bit about the new class, the Demon Hunter. So, Demon Hunter, a couple of things about Demon Hunters. Number one, Night Elves and Blood Elves only. Number two, it's a hero class, so they're going to start at 95-ish or whatever. But after you get through their initial starting zone, which will be kind of like the DK starting zone, you're going to be able to go right into the new content.
Thank goodness. I did not want to take a Demon Hunter back to Draenor.
Right. And because everybody wants a Demon Hunter, you are going to get a 12th character slot.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's a leather class. So they're looking at leather as the class for armor.
So I have to ask you, do you feel that that's a big deal? Because it's one thing that I've seen some people talking about is, well, shouldn't we have had a male class to kind of balance things out loot-wise? But I've also seen other people say, well, for a lot of people raiding, it's personal loot nowadays, so it really shouldn't matter if it's leather or mail or plate or what.
If they take out the ability for teams to remove personal loot from their systems, then sure, go ahead. If it's only going to be personal loot, then that's fine. If you give teams the option to turn that off, however, it should be something different because there are too many dang classes that are leather right now. Wouldn't you agree, Darius, as a raid leader? Wouldn't you agree about that?
No, it's not cloth, so that's, I mean,
but
that's
as a raid,
he doesn't care if it's not cloth.
I mean, what? We have raid leader, we have hunters, so I don't care about them. We have
well, that's male anyway. It doesn't
druids.
That's
male,
right?
You know, whatever. They half of them in my raid wear leather,
right? But it's rogues, druids, monks,
druids.
Who else?
Nah.
And then
no one plays
now
monk
demon
anymore.
hunters.
So
Demon Hunter. I mean, Darius, would you have an issue if Demon Hunters were cloth armor? Because I mean, if you look at the models, it doesn't look like they're wearing a whole lot of leather.
It should be
Basically
cloth.
It
should be cloth. That'd be
they're
great.
they're taking loot away from me, so I'd have a huge problem with it.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Of course.
But they need something for their fancy little eyewear that they, I don't know, whatever.
They need that bandana, yeah.
That's right.
Blindfold, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But they are going to have two different specs: melee DPS, which is called Havoc, and tank, which is called Vengeance. So Vengeance is back for tanks. That's the way they brought it back. I don't know. And this wonderful new class is going to have something called a double jump. I don't know what that means.
That's why everyone's playing Demon Hunters.
Yep, I don't know what that means, but apparently it's all the rage with the kids and the thing. So
It lets them jump doubly.
Right.
It's jumpception, right? So you jump, and while you're in the middle of a jump, you defy physics and jump again.
Yes. All right. So let's talk about your overall opinions about the new class, Demon Hunter and Ro. Since you play a warlock, I guess you get first dibs.
Looks exciting. I, for the most part, stayed away from melee DPS specs. This is about the only kind of class and spec where I would consider trying it out because it kind of has that warlocky theme to it in a way. Mm-hmm. So I'll probably join, the 5, 6, 7 million other players that end up rolling Demon Hunter.
Right. And Darius, how about you, buddy? What do you think?
I'm excited for the Demon Hunter. I'm excited to see what people do with it and just how broken it is for the first couple, weeks it's out.
Yeah.
But I'm not excited for my raid team for, 8 people saying they're going to go Demon Hunter as their main. That's never a good time.
It's just going to be rogues and monks that are going to be going Demon Hunter.
And like half of our hunters and
yes, because it says hunter in there, and they don't know better. Yeah, no, they
don't get it.
Right, I got it.
I can't wait to run 5-man dungeons where you're trying to queue for a dungeon and there's just no healers around because everyone's either playing a Vengeance tank or a Havoc DPS.
Yeah. Oh man. It's going to be weird. It's going to be a weird time, man. I'm looking forward to the beta and seeing exactly how those guys play out and what, some of those some of the theory crafters think about what it actually will do. So,
I've been having a lot of fun playing with them on the alpha.
It's
to say that.
No, it seems like we're getting a lot more melee now because we have survival hunters as melee. We'll have the new demon hunters as melee, and so we're gonna have a lot of boss butt in our future, I guess.
With every class they've added into the game, they have yet to add a ranged class. Every class they've added has been melee.
Yes, you're right. Absolutely right. Well, except for
much melee.
Did they not start off with hunters though? Maybe in the alpha, they didn't.
It did. And then everyone always complains, we have too many melee in this group. We have too many melee. We need range. This fight is ranged heavy. They hate melee, blah, blah, blah. And they just keep adding melee. Adding melee.
Yep. I don't know. It's going to get a little crowded in there. That's all I know. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. Shall we talk a little bit of PvP?
You down with PvP? Yeah, you know me. You down with PvP? Yeah, you know me. You down with PvP? Yeah, you know me. Who's down with PvP?
Yeah, so So there's going to be a new honor system for PvP, and I'm kind of actually looking forward to this. So we're going to take an emphasis away from gear. There's not going to be any more PvP gear. It's going to be this new honor system, and it's weird. It seems kind of like, it seems like other games that are not coming to my head as far as what their titles
Call
are.
of Duty. As far as the ranks and the prestige, the stuff goes, they're borrowing a little bit from that.
Definitely. And so, Darius, you want to explain how this new honor system is going to kind of work a little bit?
So the honor system is basically going to be your way to improve in PvP that's not gear. They're going to try to move away from gear being the way that you get better. So you're going to rank up as you gain honor, as you do gooders in the PvPs. Mm-hmm. You'll go from rank 1 to 50, and each time you rank up, you're going to get something that's going to make you more powerful. It's going to give you different abilities, or help out your team in arenas and battlegrounds and things like that. And then once you hit 50, you'll have the option to reset to prestige. And if you do that, you'll get maybe a skin for your artifact weapon or something like that. But you'll start over at 1 again, and you'll work your way back up.
You'll unlock all the different fun stuff for your character in PvP when you PvP, which I think is kind of cool. Titanfall. That was the title that I was looking for. They have prestige ranks as well, and all that kind of stuff, and you can all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it seems kind of fun. Ro, what are your thoughts about the new PvP system? Is this going to be gooder for the WoW community?
Possibly. I mean, I don't PvP a lot. When I have participated in PvP, it's mainly been to unlock achievements or go after a mount or this little vanity thing or that little vanity thing. So now when they're developing this system where if you want to get these special vanity things, including some of the cooler models for those artifact weapons, you'll want to consider doing PvP gameplay. It's going to be interesting to see exactly just how tough it is to grind from 1 to 50, since this is an entirely different kind of system that no one really expects. How long is it going to take? Just how much time is going to be required to sink into PvP to unlock all that stuff? So I would probably say this expansion, more than any other expansion, if you have any interest in PvP and you get access to the beta test the heck out of it, because without beta testers for this new system, it could fall flat on its face.
I have actually some high hopes for this new system, and I'm glad to see that they're just dropping the gear. They're saying, you know what, screw the gear. Let's just have everybody get the gear from rating or wherever they want to get it, and we'll do these talents, and these talents will be specific to PvP, so you'll be able to kind of even out the playing field a little bit more, and you'll be able to get that every man for himself for every player, or something along those lines, like an escape, or a CC, or something special specific to PvP, which I can only imagine the possibilities on this.
So do you think racials are going to be... I mean, I don't think they announced the death of racial abilities yet, but
no.
You would think that with this new system and these special PvP talents and abilities, I feel like they'll get rid of racials altogether.
No, I don't think they'll get rid of racials. I think that they will minimize racials. So racials will still matter for rating.
For PvE, yeah.
For all the PvE stuff, because these talents won't affect the PvE side of it at all. So it's kind of neat, when you go into PvP, you'll have all these different little talents that you've already unlocked. Everything is unlocked.
So humans might have everyman, but it would be an everyman button that worked in PvE, you think?
Well, yeah, so their everyman would work in PvE. Their everyman would probably work in PvP too. But guess what? Other people could say, you know what? I want everyman for himself as well, and they might be able to select it as a talent. That's my hope anyway. That we'll be able to minimize some of these racials that are a little bit OP, so that we can get a little bit more diversity in who's playing which side. Because we saw it earlier in just a few shows ago. We talked about that. So it's pretty it's pretty wild when you see that 54% of PvPers are playing humans. That says broken to me.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of cool. Darius, do you have any thoughts on the PvP model itself?
I think this is exactly what they needed: a separation of PvP talents and PvE talents, and this is going to help to balance both of them out.
Yeah.
So this is a step in the right direction. This is good.
I think that this is probably the most promising part of Legion. Really, I mean, you can take away the rating is fine, and they want to recapture that, and that's great because the rating has worked out. I think that the only thing that the really great improvement that they could make for Legion is with PvP, and I think that this is a strong step in probably the right direction. We'll have to see exactly how it tests out, but I like it.
Yep,
I'm digging this.
This is good.
I'm doing most of my PvP in Heroes of the Storm lately, so.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's just do a final wrap up, guys. What do you think about Legion? And let's do it on a scale of 1 to 100. Give me the number of bongos or whatever that you would give it.
No, we don't do bongos anymore.
Bongos are banned?
No, they're not banned.
Oh.
We don't ban those things. Dairies may, but whatever. So, Ro, what kind of a number would you give Legion as far as we saw just at Gamescom and the interviews after that? So, what kind of number?
70 out of 100 bongos, which, is above average, but I'm not going to go super crazy about stuff yet because there's a lot of stuff that we still don't know. And to be honest, based on some of the tweets that we saw, the past couple of days that Lord put out there and people complaining about the Sunday Q&A, which we don't really have to talk a whole lot about here. But one thing that Lord made clear is that the dev team is going to be a bit more tighter-lipped about the exact details of each of these features until they're much closer to actually having it playable for people.
Right.
So for the time being, I'm keeping my expectations at about 70 out of 100 bongos. Right. I'm interested. It looks like fun. We'll just have to wait and see.
Darius, now what kind of number might you give to Legion as far as what we've seen so far?
On a scale of 1 to 110.
Okay. That makes sense.
I see what you did there.
That makes sense.
I would probably give it 83.
83.
Yeah.
All right.
83.
So,
I'll give it that. I'm excited for it, but as Rose said, I'm also reserved. I've been burned.
Mm-hmm.
But I like a lot of the changes they're making. I think it's good. The story, I don't know yet. It feels a little odd to me, but not. I mean, it's just to me like I felt all very lost in Warlords as far as the story went. So this is going to have to reel me back in. Yeah. But a lot of the changes they're making to the talent system and the artifacts and all that good stuff and Garrison 2.0 in class halls.
It was funny because in some of the interviews they were talking about story, right? And I thought like the leveling story was amazing. It was so great. It was perfect. It was like the best that I could ever hope for as far as like leveling content and all that kind of stuff. And then they said, and then what we did was Garrisons, and it really threw people off, and it really threw the story under the bus and all this other stuff. And I went, yeah, you know what? I didn't care about story after that. It was just I didn't, because I don't read. I don't
story
read.
Is actually story is actually one of the things that has me the most hyped, I guess, about Legion, because I like that they are kind of having this whole class-specific angle going on, and I want to see where they go with that. So that's one of the reasons why I have a lot of interest in the story myself, and I do have kind of those same concerns. I think whatever the leveling story is, it's probably going to be awesome. I mean, they'll put their heart and soul into it. But the story that takes us from level 110 to killing the final boss of the expansion, in my opinion, is just as important as the leveling story.
Right. So we're going to have to see some story throughout, and hopefully that will keep everybody hooked, right? And Sage Time in the chat says, Pat, Gorgron says hi. I liked Gorgron. I thought that was fun. I don't know. All right, let's move it on to some other stuff in what we call the BattleNet News. And I'm going to make this quick because I know that we're running long here. But we have a couple of different things. Number one, Blizzard trademarks the word compete. And they're not doing it just to trademark the word.
If you want to compete, you have to go through Blizzard.
Right.
That's all.
But the identification of it says that it is something to organize and promote esports tournaments, to create and customize tournament brackets and ladders and all this kind of cool stuff. So they've got something coming down the pipe for esports, right, Darius?
I think this is their tournament mode for Hearthstone, their tournament system that they've been talking about and everybody wants. And then when they came out with the Grand Tournament expansion and it didn't have any tournament stuff in it, everyone was like, whoa, that seems kind of silly.
Now, Ro, do you think it's just for Hearthstone?
I don't think so. I actually think that this could be a programming or software infrastructure that might be, attached to every Battle.net game that has some sort of type of esports play to it. Just kind of how they have all the games unified under the Battle.net launcher. I almost feel like they're going to have some sort of platform or system that connects all of the esports aspects of all these games together, so that you can also perhaps say go to a website where you can see tournament brackets and perhaps see standings and such all together. I feel like there's a lot about this that we don't know, but if Blizzard is going to go as far as to trademark the word and talk about all this systems like technology speak, it feels like this is going to be something bigger than just a tournament mode for a single game.
Yeah.
It has to be far-reaching, and I would expect that since we have all these esports games having their world championships at BlizzCon, I feel like this is something we may learn a lot more about at BlizzCon, and something that could start after BlizzCon is over.
Right. Do you think that I could say line up a tournament for Rocket League with this this piece of software? Probably. Who knows? Because if you think about it, think about it though. I mean, Valve makes their own games, right? Right.
But then they have this software platform called Steam. So what if Blizzard creates this kind of tournament software? And yes, it applies to their games, of course. But what if they are developing some sort of software infrastructure, web-based system program that helps people conduct tournaments on other games as well? It's not impossible.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it, though. I really don't.
No.
And then you go through all that, and then you say, no, they're not going to do it. Of course they're not going to do it.
Hey.
Let's see, what else? Guess what happened this last week? Overwatch landed on the launcher, and I want to do this.
What? I'm going to install this right now. What are you talking about?
No, wait, hold on a second. No big applause, because you can't actually install it. It's not an install thing. You just click on it for more information about Overwatch. But it's on the launcher.
It's there.
So it's
coming tomorrow.
The first
beta
step.
now.
Yeah, beta now. Beta or Riot.
Beta or Riot.
That's right. Let's see what else. Hearthstone keeps on revealing more cards for their next expansion. Heroes is going to have a new few heroes coming next week, is it?
Karazim the Monk is on the PTR this week, and if he follows the pattern of previous heroes that were on the PTR, we could see him up as early as next week.
Right, and we also have Rexar and Misha, his bear, Artanis and Medic from SC2, and a new map.
Infernal Shrines. It looks really fun.
That does look kind of fun. It kind of takes a bunch of maps and combines them, so it's weird. But I kind of like it. We are once again probably going to skip the questions this week because I know that we're running long. We have so much to say about Legion. Who knew? So I think we'll go to we'll start with the 5-star reviews. And Darius, who do we have to thank this week for 5-star reviews?
We have Elreed 2075150.
Hey, get a real name.
I think this is his phone number.
Yeah. Is that his phone number?
Yeah, I think he wants me to call him.
Right. 867-5309. Is that his name?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And we have George Mag.
All right. Well, thank you guys for the reviews, of course. And thanks for all the great YouTube comments that we've been getting over the last few weeks. I know that I definitely read them. I try to respond to them, all that kind of great stuff. So check us out on YouTube. Check us out on iTunes. All that kind of stuff. Leave reviews. Leave comments. All that kind of stuff. Shout-outs this week. Anybody have a good shout-out? Anyone? I have a shout-out to Ro. Thank you for coming on the show. As always.
Thanks for having me on. Shout out to you guys for having me on, and also shout out to this great big honkin' live chat room. You guys have been awesome.
Yeah, they're always awesome. They are always awesome, except for the couple of trolls that come in. Those guys suck.
Yeah.
But
Well,
everybody else is great.
this is Twitch. It's going to happen. You need to have it's like you're supposed to have one troll for every 50 participants in the
Yep.
chat.
Exactly. Yeah, right. And we cannot do the show without those guys and without you guys at home and without you guys on the show. So thank you very much for taking the time to rate us on iTunes. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the questions that we didn't get to this week yet again. But you can always join the conversation we're having at any time. And you can do that real nice and simple. But first, I got to bail on the music.
Just gonna bail on it, just like that.
Yep, just like that. And I'm going to play...
bail out.
I'm going to bail out, and I'm going to play this one. Here we go. All right, you can always email us at converttoraid@gmail.com. You can call us and leave comments and questions on our raid line, 612-787-RAID. That's 612-787-7243. You can follow us on Twitter at converttoraid, or even individually, right, Darius?
You can follow Pat Crane at Pat Crane with a K. You can follow Darius at Boardmine with an M.
And Ro, where are you at?
You can find me on Twitter at ROWOW. That's RHOWOW.
Right, and also your podcasts are out there too. Realm Maintenance at realm-maintenance.com and Extended Maintenance. And both of those shows actually are part of the Signals Media All-Star lineup over at signalsmedia.com. So you can find them over there as well. That's great. Anything else? Ro, you have anything else you want to say before...
No, just once again, Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited about Legion, and I'm very thrilled to have been one of the 4 boxes here this week. So,
One of the 4 boxes.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
One of which is always reserved for Logo, our good friend Logo. Now, you guys can always join the Bazubo Guabo Nation by heading over to converttoraid.com. This is where we have everything. We have show downloads, we have forums, we have videos, we have audios, we have tons of links for Raiders and so much more. It's all over at converttoraid.com. For the live show, we're going to start going to converttoraid.com/live. We're going to clean it up a little bit. It's been a while since we've taken a look over there. I think we need to clean it up a little bit. We're also going to be live streaming on alphagreekradio.com for those that want to listen live through their mobile device or Roku or whatever. And so really the big thing though, converttoraid.com.
We host the internet.
That's right. The Convert to Raid podcast is produced and distributed by Signals Media. Make sure to check out all of our friends like Ro at the Signals Media All-Star Network at signalsmedia.com. That is going to be it for the show. Lots to talk about. Lots of good things coming, hopefully, with Legion. We hope you guys had a good time. Thank you, Ro, once again. Thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll see you on our next show next week at our regular time, Tuesday, 9 p.m. Central. And for all the guys at Convert to Raid, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, internet.
See ya.
Bye.